Hey everyone, Tech here. Welcome to Tech's Tavern. Grab a brew, pull up a chair, and let's do a quick look on Prison Architect. This is the Alpha 3 version of it, and before anyone says anything, I do have permission to do this video, as there is not a current NDA in place. The developers have encouraged people to do videos on the game for people to see. And this Alpha 3 version was actually just released a few days ago, adding in some new features. The game is by Introversion Software, which is an independent company, not under any big publisher or any other label. They've done some games in the past. Uplink was one, which was kind of a hacker simulation game they did a long time ago. They also did the, the Dolwinia, Multiwinia, something like that. I never really played that game much. I know my son had it on Xbox. Kind of reminded me of a Lemmings strategy sort of thing, but never really played that game very much. However, I took some interest in this game because it has a very, it's like, some people have kind of compared it to a vibe between a kind of a Sim City done prison, maybe with a little bit of a kind of a dungeon keeper building sim going on to it. And we'll kind of get to that a little bit here, and I'll try to explain it as we go along. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new prison, and we'll just do a medium size. Now these are a couple of the new features that were just added into the game with the last patch, and they've made it optional to turn them on or off. Fog of War. This is a feature where Fog of War will cover up parts of your prison if there is not security cameras or guards in that area after a certain amount of time. So it kind of makes it where if you don't have eyes on a certain prisoner, he could be, doing something shady when he feels that he's not being watched. And continuous intake, what this does is it makes it where prisoners will be getting drop off every day, and you're in a kind of a panic situation to consistently be expanding to take care of the influx of the new prisoners. So if you turn that off, they only send you prisoners when you have cells available, which is how we're going to go ahead and play for now. And we're going to go and turn Fog of War off too, because I want you to be able to see some of the stuff that's going on with it. So we'll go ahead and start a game here. Now this game has some similarities, I feel. One of the closest similarities I can think of right off the bat is SimCity. Because it kind of allows you to designate zones for certain types of use. So similar to how in SimCity you would do industrial and residential, here's kind of a letter kind of telling you, hey, welcome warden, build some stuff, don't let me down, and kind of gives you some tips. And again, remember this is an alpha, so there's a lot of fleshing out and tweaking that they still have to do. You start off here in the beginning. You have some grants that you can take, and we'll just take this first grant here, which is to build a basic detention center, and they'll give us $40,000 for that. And we'll go ahead and close this. And it kind of gives us then a little to-do list over here, to build a holding cell, shower, yard, kitchen, canteen, 2 guards, 2 chefs. Okay, so we'll kind of concentrate on doing that. You start off here with these 2 little areas for deliveries and garbage. And I have it paused right now. We'll go ahead and put it on play. We're going to do a foundation, is where you kind of start at, and build our first main building here. Let's see, we'll do it about 16 by 24. Let's do 18 by 24. That sounds pretty good. And then we will put a door, a large jail door. You can see the little construction workers will show up and start putting stuff together here. We'll put our door right there. And we will put it on high speed here and let them go to work. And as you can see, they as it kind of works in a system of when you plop things down and build them, you're instantly buying the materials. The materials are dropped off, and your however many workers you have go to work on doing it. And you can see right here we have 8 staff, which is basically 8 workers. And you can go in here, there's different reports where you can see like your staff, okay, there's the 8 builders that you have or whatever. So we'll let them finish this up, and then we'll we'll get to the first step, and I'll kind of show you how I do it. And I've watched 1 or 2 videos of other people playing the game, and it's a game like this is very, very interesting, actually, I think, sometimes, to watch other people play, because you see so many different styles of how people play the game. And one thing with a game like this, too, is it does take a little bit of time to get used to the dimensions of certain things, because this is one of those games where, I'll show you here, you have different types of rooms. These are currently the different types of rooms there are. And some rooms require certain things to be in them, but also certain rooms require them to be a certain size. So for instance, an office needs to be a 4x4, which is 4 of these squares. A holding cell, which is our first thing here. If you look, a holding cell has to be 5x5, has to be indoors, has to have a toilet, and it has to have a bench. Okay, so there we go. So, this is how I usually do this. We're going to pause this real quick. We're going to set up utilities first. You need there's a power station and a water pump station, so you have to manage those. So we will go ahead and put... I actually like to center it back a little bit, just because eventually I put some office space over here, probably. And I like to put them 1 square apart, because then it automatically connects the power between the two. So we'll go ahead and let that go. Get those built out there real quick. Then we will, and you can see the workers, they go and start grabbing things. And we'll throw those out there. And then the other thing I like to do is we need capacitors there, which helps the power to go. Then we will put some electrical cables. You can see it already went ahead and connected that, so our water's already up and running. And then it kind of spider webs, so you kind of just, if you put it down the middle, kind of like this, like that, there. And you don't have to do it to every place. See that kind of looks like it might not cover all the way down there. Okay, look, we got a good grid there on the power, and we'll take care of the water in a minute. Okay, so we can kind of see what's going on here. Now let's pause this real quick. Let them guys go ahead and get that there, and let's go ahead and rope off how we're going to do it. So the first thing we need to do is we need to do a holding cell. Holding cell again has to be 5x5. So if we look here, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'd have to put a wall there, which I don't like that. Let's go ahead and put the holding cell over on this side. So we'll put it right here, 5x5. And then we can use this excess space here for cells or something. And like I said, a game like this takes some planning too. If you got a little bit of, you know, neat freak in you, you'll want everything to be the perfect dimensions. And you know, I'll show you one of the prisons I've been working on here in just a second. But let's put the holding cell here. Put some walls. Okay. Alright, so they'll come in, they'll put the walls in. We have to have a door on it, so we went with the jail door. Put that right there. Alright, so then we have the holding cell kind of closed off there. So then we need to, it has to have a bench. Bench. Which we'll put right there, and it has to have a toilet. They need to take care of business. Oh, they're waiting for their jail cell to be completed. Now, one thing I see a lot of people do too is you can do things like this. For some of these other ones, like a shower for the showers and things like that, we can actually, let me see here, we'll do a shower. There's no dimensions on the shower, you just have to have shower heads. So we'll go ahead and do the shower like, we can put the wall right there. So do the shower there. We'll do the canteen, kind of like that. Whoops. I did another shower. We don't need that. Whoops. Come on, Griff. Let's go. There we go. Oh. I don't know why that's not. Should be unselecting that. Let's try this again. Canteen. Okay. That should hopefully solve that problem. And then we need a kitchen, which doesn't have to be real big. Usually the kitchen just needs to be about that size. There's good. And then we need a... what else do we need? Well, the yard's outside. Let's go ahead and do... let's just do those for right now, I believe. Because I think that's all we need right now. So we'll unpause it. And then we'll do wall there, wall there, wall there. Then let's put the door over on that side. There. Put the door, and then we'll just put some, on these rooms I usually just put normal doors. I'm not worried about the jail doors, because these are rooms that the prisoners are kind of going in and out of somewhat freely. Now all of these require certain things. So again, with the shower, we need to put shower heads in here. So we'll put a couple shower heads, but we also need to put drains so that we do not flood the jail out. So we'll put drains kind of across like that. Okay, the canteen requires a serving table, which I actually got lucky and built that just right. And usually I like to put a bench in here too, because then they kind of sit in there and eat. The kitchen, I know, requires... oh, and I built that wrong, didn't I? Oh, no worries, we can rotate it and put it on the side. The kitchen requires a stove. It's a little smaller kitchen than normal, but it'll work. Fridge, and then you have to put a sink in there for them to basically wash the dishes. Okay, so we got those all in place. Now, we have a water symbol flashing here because we need water. So, and it looks like we also have, well, to power all, we need water across all these places. So we'll go ahead and put our pipe here, across here, there, and down. Yeah, the general idea. And I think all that's... those aren't flashing, so I think those got powered up automatically. So we did good with that. Now we also need an office. Well, let's see. Okay, well, actually, just to finish this, we need to do the yard. So to do the yard, let's do another door. Let's kind of line it up straight back here, because this will probably be our main hallway through here. And then let's do a fence. Or no, wait. We need to draw it out first. So the yard has to be minimum 5 by 5. Yeah, 5 by 5. So we will do it. We'll do. I like to do it a little larger than that, actually. 7 by 8's good. Because you got several things you put out here, so you kind of need a little bit of room. So we're going to put a fence around it, of course. We don't want them going on a walk longer than is needed. So we got the yard out there. So once the fence gets up, that'll get finished. And we can even dress it up if we got to. We can... actually, no, let me do that. Look. Oh, I kind of messed up there and did an extra little corner there for some reason. Let's see, can I get rid of that? I'm not sure. I'll leave it for a second. And we can do some things too, like we need to put some lights out here, because it's going to get really dark out here at night. I guess we can kind of do that and that. That's fine. And then usually in the yard you want to do some things like you put weight benches out here so they can do weight benches, and then I usually like to put like a couple phones out here. Whoops. No. That wasn't what I wanted. Got a couple phones out here so they can call their lawyers or whatever. And then we need some guards, it says. We need 2 guards and 2 chefs. So we put the guards in here. And the guards in this right now, I think he's still trying to determine whether he wants you to have direct control over them or not. The cooks, we'll put 2 cooks in there. Alright, so we finished that. Right now you can select a guard, and if there's trouble, like if there's a bunch of prisoners out here and they're rioting out in the yard, you can select a guard and you can move the guards to that area and they'll go out there and they'll calm it down, which is a good mechanic, which I think he'll probably end up leaving it that way. And you can also set up patrol routes where you can actually later on, once you unlock things, through bureaucracy, bleh, it's late, you can actually assign paths, and you can get to closed circuit TV cameras and all kinds of things like that. So anyway, we finished that first one, and for instance the second one here is to do an administration center. We need to do an office to get our warden in here. We'll do that real quick before I'm going to switch here the video and just show you a prison that I've been working on a little bit. But for instance, I know an office has to be 5 by 5. Let's do it down here, I guess. And sometimes I like to do this. I usually like to do the offices in a separate building. Like usually I'll do a hallway out here and do some of the offices, but for the purposes of this video, I'll kind of show you. So that's 5, or actually I think it's 4 by 4, isn't it? Oh well, doesn't matter. And we will go ahead and, for instance, do it like this and like that. And I know for an office you have to have a desk, a chair, and a filing cabinet. So we can go ahead and grab, for instance, the office desk, and we can rotate it around. Put it like this. Put our chair here at the desk, and then we can grab our filing cabinet and put it in the corner. Then we can take and get a warden and plop the warden in his office. We also need to put a door. Put a door right here. We'll rotate that. And there's the warden's office. Now once you get the warden, what that does for you is that it opens up this tab here. And then you can go, it has kind of a skill tree where you can kind of go in and start unlocking advanced things, like you can get a security chief, and then you get deployment, which lets you set like patrol routes, and then you can eventually get the closed circuit TV system, so that buildings that prisoners don't frequent, if you're playing with the fog of war, you can see in that area without having to have a guard there, for instance. You can do other things too, like you can get doctors, and you can also get the psychologist. There's a lot of little different things you can unlock. One thing is you can maintenance and cleaning, because eventually the prison starts getting really messy. And it's like here on this particular mission, I got to build another office now, so I've built one of the 2. Do finance and then get an accountant. So for instance, that's a couple of objectives to work on. And anyway, what ends up happening is you start getting prisoners in, and they start having crazy things going on. And I will go ahead and load one prison I've been messing with, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on here. Now this is a prison I was working on earlier today, and this prison's actually running pretty smooth, but I'll explain a few problems. Number one, as you can see, is that the prison's starting to get nasty and fall apart. You can see these guys have been messing their cells up, and I don't want to even know what that is they're throwing against the walls. This guy says he's bored, he needs recreation. But you can see I have a fairly smooth prison running right now. I haven't had any deaths, or I've had some mini riots, but nothing major. You can see here I have set up some offices. I have a warden office, I have an accountant's office, psychologist. I have a couple solitary confinement cells, medical ward, storage, and then I have what is this? A total like 16 cells for the prisoners, which the normal cells have to have a bed, a toilet, I put the bookshelf in there so it gives them something to further themselves. You You can have a little common room here with some TVs and chairs. I have the yard with the weight benches and stuff. And you can see I got guards walking around. I can't use the deployment yet because I don't think I have to unlock that right here. But then when you get the deployment, you can actually assign guys. But you can kind of give guys, like I can tell this guy, hey, I want you in here, you know, and he'll go in here and he'll start walking around looking to see what's going on. You can see everybody's kind of sleeping right now. And you can look at the different prisoners and see, I'm not sure what this is going on here, why there's Stephen King. I didn't know he was in prison. I don't understand why there's the jail thing on some guys and the box thing. I don't know, and this one's weird too. This one's looks like he's being stalked or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with some of these dream things or whatever. This guy, he's getting pissed in his cell right here. But anyway, this game is still an early alpha. There's a lot of work that they're doing on it. I can tell you one thing that's really caught my attention with this game is this is one of those great games where the programmer, the developer so far has been very good about putting, it's one of those games where you can have crazy things happen and later tell a story about it. And I'll give you just one example. And I've heard others from other people that are just hilarious. But for instance, in one of my early prisons, I made a shower that was pretty small. It was a very small, like, 3 by 3 with 2 shower heads. And I got 8 prisoners in, and all 8 prisoners went in there. Well, one guy got really pissed because he was tired of waiting for the shower, so he started a fight. And then everybody started getting into a fight, and there was this big riot in the showers. Everybody was beating the crap out of each other. I had guards go in there. They started beating them down. There's blood flying all over the showers. Guys are just getting completely messed up because they didn't want to wait for the shower. So that kind of taught me the lesson, hey, you need more than 2 shower heads. I've heard other stories of where one guy had a prisoner, one of his prisoners went into another guy's jail cell and took a crap on his toilet, and then he got mad, the 2 of them got into a fight, and it started the entire cell block into a riot. So you just get all kinds of crazy, weird things that happen. And the prisoners, they're always complaining about something. This guy here, right now I'm having an issue where a lot of them are complaining about recreation currently. He says he needs sleep and exercise, go to bed, and you get other little neat things, touches, like here I put a metal detector, and I've had guys where they've tried to sneak out with silverware, and so they get caught and they get put in lockdown for a certain amount of time and lose their privileges. And you can set things too, even right now, like the regime, like I added an extra hour of free time here that wasn't there before, so you can kind of be a real strict warden, or you can give them more time to do things, or you can change the meal variety, but it costs more money. There's a lot of little things you can tweak with it. And like I said, this is still very early in the alpha stages. I know the developers are adding some things like being able to, for the prisoners, are going to try various escape routes. For instance, right now, the way I've been doing my security is prisoners can pretty much open any of these doors to their cells. I mean, look, they're open. They can walk out of their cells right now. But there's only certain times they're supposed to be doing things, so they know to stay in their cells when it's time. When it comes breakfast time, they all come out and they go get breakfast. So you don't really lock any of these doors down. And what you do is any doors that go to the outside, I've set where this door here, for instance, is by employees only. So you can click on it and you can go staff only on this door. So this door goes to the outside, it's staff only. This is staff only in case they come to medical, they can't try to sneak out. And then I have staff only over here to the warden and everything because I don't want them going through there. So there's really no way for them to, and this is staff only, so they can't sneak out from this direction. So there's really no way for them to get out unless they somehow catch the timing just right. When someone else comes to this door, they can sneak out. But I guess later in the game, they're planning on adding things like where they can tunnel out, so you have to kind of be suspicious and watch them if they're trying to tunnel out, and a lot of other things they can add. There's a lot of freedom to add gangs and all kinds of weird things to this game. So there's some pretty neat things going on. The way that they do it right now is you can pay to get on this alpha, and they have a lot of people have been complaining because they feel the price may be a little high because the lowest one is $30, and it goes from $30 all the way up to like, I don't know, $1,000. I will tell you, they have some pretty neat packages. I personally ended up getting the $35 package, which is the second package, and that's basically you get in on the alpha, you get the game when it's released, and then I also get like the soundtrack and a PDF of like artwork and concept art and things like that or something. And I thought for 35 that was pretty good. I think the next one up is like 50, and that's where you get your name in the game as one of the prisoners. And while that sounds cool, I know for me personally, it'd be one of those things where my name would get in the game and I'd never see it. And I'd just get mad about it, but whatever. But anyway, that is Prison Architect. It's a game that, as it moves along further, this is a game I'll keep an eye on, and I'll keep playing the alpha as it goes through. And somebody's using the facilities there. I think Scott Rowe was using it. But this is a game that I'll visit back, say, 2 months from now, and once they go through 4 or 5 more patches and implement some new features, and I'll do another video for you guys and take another look at it. Right now, I think it's pretty cool. It has some promise. It's a great theme and idea. It's basically Sim City done prison style, where you have a bunch of prisoners who just are completely almost unpredictable to a certain degree. And you just have to, do the best you can to keep them contained and keep the prison moving. And anyway, that is it. I will go ahead and drop it off right there. But again, I will try to do a couple more videos. It's not to the point where I would do an LP series on this yet, because I just don't know that there's quite enough meat to it to keep it interesting for multiple episodes. I could probably do like 3 episodes, and then, I'll either get overrun by the prisoners or it'll get boring. So I'm kind of waiting until they add a little bit more meat to it. But anyway, that is it. It's, again, Prison Architect. It's pretty easy to find if you go and do a search. And I will catch you guys in the tavern next time. Hey, settle down over here.